as many people cross all the hurdles, means they cross this hurdle, this hurdle, this hurdle and this hurdle. Let's proceed this example further. Okay, out of these 15 applicants, reference and backgrounds were checked, only 5 were selected. Say for example, okay, now the names of these 5 candidates will be included in the final list of the selected candidates, right? But this information has not been communicated to the candidate yet. Okay, on internal basis the decision has to be taken. Okay, and that decision has to be taken by the concerned manager, the manager who is responsible for the performance of that particular candidate. He or she takes a final decision. Maybe possible on some criteria they reject a few people and they select a few people. They may have their own choice, right? Okay, so that is why the candidate is not informed. Candidate is informed later on. This is a kind of final list for the next process. Okay, so the concerned manager, say for example the post was there in the marketing department, so marketing manager has every right to decide whether which employee should be hired or not. Okay, out of this final list. Understood the point? So this decision is very much important. Okay, so responsible people take this decision. Okay, this is valuable, right? Now let's talk about the another stage which comes after this process. Okay, so next stage is medical examination. So what happens when a candidate is selected under this process? Okay, then they need to undergo a medical test. Okay, because the organization is willing to ensure whether the candidate is medically fit or not. If he or she is having any kind of disease, okay, which is not acceptable as per the norms of the company or the profile of the job, then definitely a person cannot be selected further. I would like to give an example for this. Okay, say for example there is a post of loco pilot in railway. Okay, so for that the person who is running the train, his eyesight has to be very much sharp. If he is having any kind of vision problem, then definitely the life of various people is there at stake. Okay, so that is why he has to undergo the medical examination. Understood the point? So one more thing I would like to explain under this process. Big organizations, what they do, they have their own medical board. Okay, they just call the candidate has to just undergo the medical tests which are being done by the organization on their own. Okay, because they do not rely on the other side people. So only the big organization, whether it is private or government one, they conduct such kind of medical examination through their own medical board. Okay, in their own premises. Fine. But the small organization depend on the medical fitness certificate produced by the candidate, and this certificate is approved by some government officers. Okay, in most of the organization this system goes on, but in some specific organization separate board is maintained for the particular purpose. Understood? So this process goes on in that way. Fine. So as many people are found medically fit, only then they will be provided for the next process. Okay, so this is also a step to eliminate the unqualified or unfit candidates. Okay. So let's take it further. At the time of selection, may be possible that the manager selected only 3 candidates. So only 3 applicants are there now. Okay, now 3 of them will undergo the medical fitness test. Okay, now after this medical fitness test, let's say for example that only 2 are selected. Okay, they are medically fit. Fine. Now we will move to the next stage of selection process. So another stage is what? Job offer. This is also known as joining letter, appointment letter, letter of appointment, etc. So as many candidates are found medically fit, they have crossed all the hurdles. Okay, now the job offer will be given to those by the organization. So job offer is a kind of offer given by the organization to the candidate that we invite you to work with us, okay, through a kind of letter which is known as appointment letter. Okay, and this letter generally contains the terms and condition of the employment, okay, and pay scale and the other associated benefits with the jobs, fine, and it also includes the date of reporting. Considerable and reasonable time is given to the candidate so that he or she can join, okay, so date is specified, fine, but it depends on the candidate whether he or she accepts this offer or not. Okay, now organization is ready to hire you, now it's up to you, mean up to the candidate. If the candidate is not willing to join the organization, now you must be thinking why it happens. It happens. Suppose I am a candidate and I have applied forms in 2 organizations or 3 organizations and I have got the letter from 2 of the organizations, then I will have a chance to compare. One I will select, another I will reject. Okay, one joining letter I will accept and another I will deny. Understood the point? So now the organization offers a job, okay, now the candidate has to accept it. He has to give the confirmation, okay, and that confirmation is given by reporting. So an appointee has to report within the specified time mentioned there in the letter. Understood the point? Okay, so let's understand that 2 of these candidates were given the job offer, okay, one accepted that offer and another rejected. Okay, so only one accepts it. Fine. Now, what will happen? We will go to the last step of selection procedure. Okay. Now, the last step or stage of selection process is contract of employment. Okay. If a candidate accepts the job offer, okay, then one legal document is signed between the employee and the employer. Okay, on signing that legal contract, the candidate becomes an employee of the organization. Okay, this is a legal document like I told you, fine, and this is known as contract of employment. What it includes? It includes job profile, nature of job, duties associated, responsibilities, okay, working conditions, fine, types of leaves allowed, fine, grievance procedure, termination process, okay, rules and regulations of the organization, allowances, etc. Many more. It's a contract, it is more detailed, okay, and it has to be signed by both employee as well as the employer. So on behalf of employer, any kind of officiating person can do the job, okay, and the company seal is put there, okay. So the contract binds the both employee as well as the employer, okay, for the stated rules and regulation. When as an employee you sign some contract, then you are bound, you cannot break that. If you break that, legal action can be taken against you. For example, if you are planning to switch your job and under your contract it is written that if you are planning to switch a job, you have to give 1 month notice period in advance, and you are not giving that notice period, then the organization has any right to take legal action against you because you are breaching the contract. Understood the point? Okay, so this is one example I gave you. There are various terms and conditions given there in the employment contract. Okay, so this is how it is done. Let me tell you one more thing. Up to this level, up to providing the job offer, the organization was eliminating. Okay, but at this stage, they stopped their elimination process. Now, the candidate has to decide whether he or she joins the organization or not. Okay, so when he accepts the job offer, then he is offered the contract of employment. When he signs this contract, he becomes the employee of the organization and all the rules and regulations of the particular organization are applied on him. Understood the point? One more thing, at that time candidate is also supposed to fill up a vital form in which he needs to provide some details about him, and that form is authenticated by him and attested by him, and the organization keeps a record of it for the future reference. Okay, generally what happens, the photocopies of your documents, experiences and other letters are signed and self-attested by you, and the copy of it is kept by the organization as official record. Okay, so this goes on. So at this point the selection process gets completed. Okay, the very first step, as I explained you, was preliminary screening. So from this level to this level, the organization is eliminating the unsuitable or unfit candidates, and the most suitable candidates are being forwarded. Okay, and at this level this process gets completed. Okay, so that is why selection procedure is known as a negative process. Understood the point? Okay, so in this way it goes on. Fine. So it was all about the selection procedure which goes on in an organization on general basis. Let me tell you one more thing. Maybe possible in a particular organization all these steps are not being exercised, right? It depends on the nature and size of the organization, that how many steps they are going to apply. Okay, and maybe possible some other organization is applying more steps than we have discussed here, but these steps are there in your syllabus which are followed in general, right? More or less at other places you will find the similar steps, okay, or the same steps. Maybe possible people are using the different names for that, but more or less these all are similar. So this is a kind of way. This is very much important for you, because sooner or later you are also going to pass through this process as a candidate. Okay, so it is very much important for you. Now let's have discussion about the comparison between recruitment and selection, or we can call it difference between recruitment and selection process. Fine. So you can see that there are few bases on which recruitment and selection are compared. Very first base is meaning. Already we know the definition and meaning. One more time, let's read it out. Recruitment, it is an activity of establishing contact between employers and applicants, right? Because through this only the applicants are contacted. Okay, they are invited to the employers. Understood? And under selection, it is a process of picking up more competent and suitable employees. Already we have discussed that throughout the entire process of selection, what we do, we keep on picking the more competent employee. Okay, second base is purpose. It is called a positive process, right, with its approach of attracting as many candidates as possible for the vacant jobs. So what is the purpose of recruitment? Just to invite as many as candidates can be possible for the vacant post. Okay, more and more qualified candidates need to be invited for the vacant post. This is what the purpose of recruitment. Now what is the purpose of selection? It is a negative process. Fine. It's elimination or rejection of as many candidates as possible for identifying the right candidate for the position. So its purpose is to just reject or eliminate the more and more candidates so that the right candidate can be identified. Okay, out of the crowd of 500, who is the best suitable for the job? For knowing that, selection process is done. Okay, process. So if we see as a process, so recruitment is a simple process, but in comparison to recruitment, selection is the complicated process. Okay, here it is written as well. It is a both complicated and simple process. When is it as a requirement of selection? Okay, so it depends on the organization, but mostly it is considered a complicated process in comparison to recruitment. Okay, approach, already we know recruitment is a positive approach because it invites the people, more and more people, and selection is a negative approach because it eliminates or rejects the people. Hurdles, the candidates have not to cross over many hurdles, because in recruitment what happened, the candidate has to just apply the form. Okay, he has not to cross any other hurdle. But in selection, already we have discussed that there are various stages. Okay, so the candidate has to cross all these hurdles to be selected. Okay, sequence, as we know that selection is done only after recruitment, because selection can be conducted when the qualified candidate application forms are available, and application forms are available through recruitment process. So recruitment comes first and then selection comes. Okay, it is written here, after recruitment the selection follows them for what next level. Okay, now economy, now let's see from economic point of view. So recruitment is an economical method in comparison to selection. Okay, however in some external sources we see that recruitment process is also very much expensive, but if we compare it with the selection, then we see that recruitment is an economical method and the selection is always an expensive method. Okay, time consuming. So if we see that if we compare recruitment process with selection process, then in recruitment only some time is required. Okay, means less time is consumed, but in selection more time is required for best selection of candidate, because we have discussed various stages are there, and for conducting all the process of these stages, okay, we need more time. Understood the points? So these were a few differences between recruitment and selection. So after having discussion on difference between recruitment and selection, you must have understood that both the processes have their due importance. Recruitment is important because process of selection depends on recruitment process. If the recruitment process is not conducted properly or not conducted at all, then selection process cannot take place, because in selection we have already discussed that the suitable candidates are selected out of the prospective candidates or the pool of qualified candidate which is available through the recruitment process. Alright, so both the processes are necessary. Already we have discussed that these two are the steps of the staffing process. Alright, so now this is all for today. Very soon I am going to meet you with the another video. As I explained you that the next video is going to be there on the types of selection tests. So see you in the video. Till then, thank you.